That was incredible honor to be introduced by Dr. John Peabody. Thank you so much. And I'm really honored to receive this award. I'll just keep this brief too, but I wanted to give my history of why I became so interested in HIV. I grew up in Utah because my parents over there made me. And it was actually, it was there when I got interested in the concept of stigma, because I was quite young when AIDS was first described, and it reminded me, because I was stigmatized, we were stigmatized as being, it was a very white state, it was, I think, a very intolerant state, and there was this profound stigma for no reason, like that was something you couldn't control, the color of your skin. And so I became really interested in stigma and that concept, that why people would judge or care what other people are doing with their sex lives or what they look like. Like, I just really couldn't understand it. I truly couldn't. And so when HIV hit, I was in middle school, and I did have a friend in high school who came out as gay, and his parents, in the middle of the Salt Lake City winter, kicked him out of the house. He's now on Broadway. And I truly couldn't understand it, and I was puzzling over it. And then they made me go to medical school. That was the other thing my parents did, because I wanted to actually do something in around policy. But medical school was one place to do it, and one thing that I was in Boston for medical school, but I wanted to come here because I wanted to come to San Francisco because HIV for me represented everything. It represented this confluence of stigma and social injustice, and why we would treat people badly, and why and the confluence of poverty and everything that sort of goes wrong in the world. People don't treat people with HIV very well. So I wanted to be here, and this was a place that had respect for people who are gay, for people who are different, for people who are trans. It was a place where people were treated with respect. And so I came here, this is where I wanted to be, and I was so lucky because I came as an intern in '96, and that was the year when the HIV medications came out. So at San Francisco General in the inpatient ward, as Dr. Peabody said, we actually had about half of the ward was filled with young men dying, and their parents would find out that they were gay and that they were dying at the same time when we would call them. And I saw at the end of that year, after the HIV medications came out, a complete revolution in how people were doing. And suddenly people were doing so much better. It's just that it was really hard to take those medications. And so what I've been lucky enough to see, and then I went into infectious disease and then became an HIV doctor, and now I'm the medical director of Ward 86. And that's been for 10 years, and it's a great place. I'm very honored to be that. But what I got to see was the medications change and the medications evolve and it become easier. And it is easier to take those HIV medications, but where it's hard is this, again, this confluence of homelessness, of substance use disorder, of mental health, and these are the people in the city that we have to help. And so at Ward 86, I have been working on different programs, and I didn't start the women's clinic, but I was really interested in women's clinic. But then once I became director, we started several programs that I think have really helped, and some of them have been with PRC. One was Golden Compass, and that was started with PRC. And that was HIV and aging, because it was hard. It was hard for people to get older. It's always hard to get older, but there's this more accelerated aging that can occur in HIV. So that was an important program, and PRC is an incredibly important partner to us because of everything they do with workforce development and helping people with their planning, DPOA, everything they're doing is so profound. Then the second program we started that I want to mention is Pop-Up. And Pop-Up started because of homelessness. And it is a program for those who are homeless, because we knew we couldn't give everyone a house, but we should do that. But what we could do was make care really easy for people who are homeless. So no appointments, just low barrier access, come in whenever you want, and we will pop up around you and form a care paradigm around you and be so warm with you and strong relationships that you'll keep on coming. And we have increased, I think, the virologic suppression rates in this city for people who are homeless. And then I just want to mention SPLASH, which is our program for long-acting antiretroviral therapy. So we started a program that when we got the long-acting medications to give them to people who weren't already virologically suppressed, who had what we, viremia, that the virus was still active in the bloodstream. And that was not how they were studied, and no one else was doing that. And we got a lot of flack, like a lot of, this is not how you're supposed to use them. And then just a week ago, the guidelines changed at the national level to say use them in the way we've been using them for people who are homeless, for people with substance use disorders, mental health, because it's a way that makes it easier to take the medication. And beyond that, it can be very destigmatizing to not have to take an oral pill every day so that you don't have to show anyone or you don't have to feel it. It's destigmatizing and it's important. And then the final thing, and what we're working on now, is what we call the Revival of Care program. And that idea is we have to do better with cardiovascular health, with preventative care, with everything that, as people are aging, ails us. So the final thing I want to say is I really want to thank PRC for giving me this award, and Randy Paul and Tran Tang. I'm very honored, and we're very honored by our relationship with you at Ward 86. But the final thing I want to say is that HIV, I don't think, and I never thought of it this way as a doctor, I don't think it's a disease. I don't think it's something like a interaction between a virus and a host. I think HIV is a movement. And I am so proud and I am so honored to have been in this movement with all of you for so long in this city. I am so honored to be a part of a movement where everyone thinks about social injustice, and everyone thinks about the marginalized, and everyone thinks about the vulnerable, and everyone thinks how hard it can be, and everyone's trying to help. So I'm really, really honored to be with all of you, and thank you so much for this award.